inspiring some of the world's best guitarists.
Yes, stirred by the sounds of summer. Well, it doesn't necessarily feel like that today, but Hank Marvin is now releasing his 15th solo album, and with an infamous name that's inspired television adverts and Cockney rhyming slang, it's perhaps appropriate that he's just called it Hank. Before we have a chat with him, let's take a look at Hank with The Shadows.
Four young men who have been hitting the hit parade where it really counts. They've been on our program once before. It's great to welcome back The Shadows.
I think everybody at home might have heard you say that. You must give that blouse back to your wife. Hank, welcome.
Thank you.
You haven't changed a bit. How do you manage to stay looking so young?
It's the drugs. Monkey glands? No. Well, thank you for the compliment. We try.
We see you there with that iconic guitar. Tell us a little bit about that, how you came to have one.
Well, 1959, late spring, Cliff said to me, Hank, I'd like to buy you a really good guitar. What do you reckon? Which model? And we decided, because Buddy Holly was using a Fender, that would be the one we went for. So we got the catalogue from the USA, we pored over the catalogue, and we found that the most attractive looking guitar was the Stratocaster, and you could get it in red with gold-plated hardware, and that's the one we ordered. And it was so beautiful when it arrived. So that guitar you saw me play there is in fact not the original. It is a copy of the original. I have had a series of signature models made in the Fender custom shop, modelled on that guitar.
Where's the original now, then?
Actually, the one Bruce is playing is the original.
OK.
It still belongs to Cliff, but Bruce borrowed it in 1968 and never gave it back. It's true.
That's great, isn't it? It's one of those things you think, I'll just borrow it for a bit.
Exactly.
However many
just
years,
another 50 years.
decades later. Well, you're back with a
Yes, thank you.
fantastic, fantastic album.
Oh, thanks.
And you've collaborated with your children on this, haven't you?
Yes, well, my son Ben, who is a guitarist, he's actually a Bachelor of Music. He worked with me on 9 of the arrangements and played on the album too. My daughter Talia is a good singer, and they both worked on albums before, but I wanted some kind of ethereal. There you go, it's Ben and myself in the studio trying to play.
Is he any good?
He's great, yeah.
Is he?
He's better than me.
Wow.
Everyone's better than me. I just wanted some ethereal vocals in the background, very subtle female voices, and it's often good to use one person and get them to sing, say, the 3 parts, because the voice blends so beautifully.
And that was your daughter, the voice?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that must be a strange dynamic in the studio, son, daughter, dad, making an album, isn't it?
It's got its advantages. First of all, you don't have to pay them, you know, keep it in the family. No, it's a good feeling to work with your kids. I enjoy it. We get on very well together. We've got the same sort of sense of humour.
And you're wearing the same shirt there as you are today as well.
It's very summery sounding parts, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Suits what hopefully will be a summery time of year.
Well, so far it's done nothing for the weather here, but I'm hoping it will have an effect. Yeah, a lot of the titles are related to summer, and even some of the songs like Daydream, the old Leonard Spoonful hit, California Girls, although they're not directly related to summer, there's a feel of summer in the title and in the music itself. And they've always been favourites of mine from way back, whenever they first were released, and it's nice to be able to take pieces of music like that, interpret them as an instrumental, and do something a little bit different with them.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose that's the thing, as an instrumental, isn't it? Because you can enjoy this in its own right. It's because there's no voice to distract you in a way. You can put your own thoughts and feelings into it.
I used to say that to Cliff. That's the good thing about it.
Get him out of it.
To distract you.
I bet he loved that.
Yeah, Cliff's great, actually. He's It's funny, we talked to someone the other day, the first hit we had, which was Apache with the Shadows, it knocked Cliff's Please Don't Tease off the #1 spot, which he used to say, it doesn't really bother me. Yes, it does. Oh, look at this.
I mean, how much contact do you still have with him? I mean, are you in touch regularly? I know you still tour from time to time.
Yeah, not regularly, no. The last time I saw Cliff was just over 18 months ago. He was in Australia, where I live. And if I'm around when he comes over, he always asks me to come on, do a few numbers with him, and we have something to eat and things like this. We did the show together. It was an open-air concert at a winery, beautiful setting. But the last time I saw him, he's fine. I think at the moment he's in Europe, touring in Europe.
If we're name dropping, talking about Cliff, let's talk about George Harrison for a moment, because is this true? He once tried to persuade you to ditch the whole idea of instrumental music.
Yes, he did. 1965, we just had a big hit with a song called Don't Make My Baby Blue, which was a song, very distracting, vocals on it, you know. So bumped into George at Abbey Road, where we both recorded, and we'd known each other for quite a few years by then. And he said, I love the new record, Hank, it's great. He said, can I just say something? And I said, well, if you like. And he said, I think you should stick to vocals, leave the instrumentals behind. You've just had this big hit with this, move ahead and do some more vocals. And we didn't take his advice.
I was going to say, you completely ignored him.
I did. Well, he was younger than me, so I thought, you know.
I've got to ask you, I mean, you live in Australia now, where
Yes.
people probably aren't aware of the Cockney rhyming slang. But of course,
No, they're
here
not.
now, people say, I'm Hank Marvin,
Yes.
starving. Do you get that all the time when you come back?
Well, a few people bring it up, you know, with a knowing wink. It's you know, the only person I knew before this from the music industry who was in rhyming slang was Ruby Murray.
Ah.
You know,
Yeah,
going
yeah.
for a curry, going
for
for
a
a
curry.
Ruby. Maybe it's going to be an Andy Murray now, I don't know.
Yeah, maybe. Well, Hank, it is lovely to talk to you this morning.
It was, yes.
Good luck
Sorry
with the
about
album.
And if you're Hank Marvin, there's loads of food out there.
Thank you, I am. Lovely to meet you both. Thanks,
Yeah,
John. Thanks, Sally.
Thanks for coming in.
And
At the time,
Hank's new album-
8:46.
Sorry, I'm interrupting you all the time, aren't
That's
I?
all right.
Should say, Hank is out next week.
I'm going to get rid of the vocals. Go off.